Signore e signori, buonasera. Welcome to New York University, Casa Italiana, Zerilli-Marimò. It's a great pleasure to welcome you all here tonight for a very special evening. Allow me to greet in the audience the chair of our advisory board, Giorgio Spano, and his wife, Nancy Olnick. Please greet them. You might have heard their names because Giorgio is guilty, on top of being the chair of our board, also being the founder, along with Nancy, of Magazzino Italian Art. And if you have not heard about Magazzino Italian Art, I'm sorry for you, but go look it up. It's a great place for contemporary art, and it's about 40 minutes from New York, and they do fantastic stuff. So Magazzino Italian Art, the only Spano collection for the public. And to welcome back to the Casa, a friend Leibowitz, who was here in a pre-pandemic, post-pandemic time, and had a great time with, the students had a great time with her. I don't know whether she had a great time with the students, but that's another story. And she was just in Milan with Grazia, right? You did a conversation there. Welcome back, friend. It's a pleasure to have you. And tonight we have Grazia, that for many of you doesn't need an introduction. She is the founder, starter, soul of Addressing Style, our series dedicated to anything related to fashion, style, beauty in Italy. One of her last endeavors here at the Casa is a series. It's an alphabetiere. It's Italian fashion from A to Z. It's all online. Do not expect to find what you have in mind for each letter because Grazia has her own alphabet. Take a look. They're short segments, 4 to 7 minutes. And at the end of the day, when you've discovered them all, you have a good sense of what Italian fashion was and still is. And that's Grazia. I'm going to leave to her the pleasure to introduce formally her guest and friend, Alba Clemente. I just want to say that Alba is an actress, costume designer, set designer, and altogether she has art in her heart. And I'm delighted that she has accepted our invitation to be here on the stage with Grazia D'Annunzio. Please welcome them.
Okay. Let me start. Does it work? Hold on just 1 second. I have to. Hi, welcome everybody to this, meeting of Addressing Style. I'm extremely proud and honored to have with us tonight Alba Clemente. Welcome, Alba. So I have to find the way to project my PowerPoint, and I think I will do that in 1 second. Here we go. Wonderful. It's not good. Can you help? Thank you. I would like to have a big screen. I'm extremely awkward with the computer. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Julian. Okay, so, yes. Francesco Clemente, who's Alba's husband and a well-known artist, yes, once told me, actually, the first time I interviewed him, he told me that when he first met Alba, he actually heard her voice first and then her face. He saw her face later.
My laugh.
Yes, and your laugh, which is quite, recognizable. So I think that I'm happy to think that you have the same experience that Francesco had tonight, listening to what we softly streamed before starting our conversation, which was a song. Actually, we streamed a song which is called Una notte a Napoli, a night in Naples, which Alba wrote for Peter Martini. And probably, Julian, can we please stream again a couple of lines of this song a little bit louder so you can hear better Alba's voice before knowing her?
Una notte a Napoli, con la luna e il mare, ho incontrato un angelo che non poteva più volare. Una notte a Napoli, delle stelle si scordò e anche senza ali in cielo mi portò.
Con lui volando lontano dalla terra.
So a big applause.
Good start.
Yes, it's a good start. And actually is one of the face of Alba, who's extremely multi-talented. So I want to ask you first, how this collaboration with Peter Martini started?
Well, just to start, just to tell you, I don't know anything about music. The only thing I know is I always loved to dance. So when I met Thomas Lauderdale, who is a super talented piano player from the Pink Martini, the leader of the band, asked me to write this Italian song, the lyrics for this Italian song. I don't know how I did it, but I managed to write this Italian song. And it was a huge hit, so I'm super excited about it. I sometimes perform with them. We did Carnegie Hall, we did the very first opening of the MoMA New Museum. We did Hollywood Bowl a few times. We did Beacon Theater and on and on and on. Even especially grateful to me, not grateful,
But
okay, happy about it.
Yes.
Then Carlos Santana
very
got,
proud.
got the rights and translate my song in Spanish. It's called E Noche a Nápoles. The words are the same, the music pretty much the same, but he's there playing his guitar and he's really broke my heart when he did that.
So you studied, Alba studied art in Naples, Accademia delle Belle Arti in Naples. Then she moved to Rome and she became an actress, an avant-garde actress in an avant-garde company. And eventually she gave up everything to follow the love of her life, which happened to be Francesco Clemente, and the mother of four kids, four children. So I would like to ask you, what does it mean in few words and in everyday life to be the inspiration to an artist?
Well, first of all, I started acting at 14 in political happenings. Those was the right years then. And my passion since I was a little child, and I remember, was theater and also politics. So I worked, then I went to college, and meanwhile I was in college, Accademia di Belle Arti, Scenografia. I worked, it was 2 years of cooperative, so we'll work, study and work at the same time. So we will tour all the region. It was a beautiful start of a real theater experience.
And then you married. Okay, this is a wonderful watercolor, and we have actually 2 of them, and I actually love them very much because it's Francesco and Alba's face that they are merging together. They're overlapping. So, what does it mean in everyday life to be the inspiration to an artist?
I never really understood what the word muse means. Well, I studied and love art and art history myself. And the word muse for me means I always knew that art in life is a mission, for sure a priority, on top of love, family, everyday life, and I always respected that. Does that make me a muse? I'm not so sure.
All right. Probably so. Let's say so, yes, yes.
Can you say so?
Yes, yes. From the moment Alba, you arrived in New York in the early 80s. You became the favorite subject of a bunch of artists, namely Francesco Clemente first, and then
More Clemente.
Alex Katz, just to name a few. Julian Schnabel, Kenny Scharf, Robert Mapplethorpe. It's beautiful, isn't it? Like a Madonna.
A bad Madonna.
Andy Warhol, Sante Dorazio. I love that. And Luca Babini. And the hands are Francesco's hands. So you have Alba and Alba's face and Francesco's hands. So how do you like to pose in front of an easel or a camera?
Well, I love to pose for portraits, and also, to me, it's very interesting to see how the artists work in a different way. With Francesco, for example, let me go back. Yes, he doesn't like to talk. He doesn't want anyone moving around in the studio. He looks at you so intensely and so close, then you feel you'll burst out in flame. His portrait is usually, no, not usually, always, one sitting, and it can last 4 or 5 hours.
Without saying a word. You can't
Without saying
talk.
a word, barely to stand up and get a glass of water, but not too often.
But that's a tough sitting.
With Alex Katz loves to chat and chat and chat. And usually his portrait take 2 sittings. The first one, you sit and chat, and he does a small, very precise oil portrait. Then you go back, second sitting, and he does a very large drawing from the painting, from the small painting. Then you are invited to go and see the final large canvas. Many times doesn't look at all like myself, but doesn't matter. It's a beautiful painting, and it's so enjoyable to pose for it.
Interesting. So totally different
That's the
experience.
interesting part to see how everyone deal in a different way, approaches differently the same.
And what about Julian?
Julian was a case. So this looks very small, but is really a large plate painting. Everything Julian does is large. So this is one of the large paintings. And he asked me to smile, and I did. I stayed smiling like for 3-4 hours also there. Meanwhile, he was on the phone with different people chatting away and painting. And then he would receive visitors at the studio. And I was amazed. We could do everything together somehow. And the painting is beautiful, so.
So what can you tell us about this Andy Warhol photos?
This is another story. So Warhol asked me to pose nude for him. At that point, I was a little shy. You will see before I wasn't shy and told to be without any clothes on. But right now, I was shy. And so I decided to put a chain around my neck with a cross, a small, small cross. So that was my no costume. So also there he took hundreds and hundreds of Polaroids. He would come really close, almost tickling me. And it was super special experience in his studio. Sadly, he died before the portrait was done, finished. But all the hundreds of Polaroids he took end up in every possible museum, collection, galleries, schools. So that was not too fun for me, but okay.
Because Andy Warhol used to take a Polaroid before painting.
Many. And not only Polaroids, he will use also different cameras, but mostly was Polaroid. And as I say, with the nude, he will come really, really close, and then different, so hundreds of photos.
Of you nude.
Oh, me nude. This is the most okay one, or the other one, they're little
The most
too much even for me.
Okay, let's jump to the next picture. Let me see. I can do that. This. Okay, in the 70s, you became an actress, and you started working for an avant-garde company in Rome called La Maschera, The Mask, directed by the visionary Mimè Perlini. So how wearing costumes, like in this case, or not wearing costume at all, like in this picture, forged your sense of style?
To be totally naked in the 70s, it was a political action. We tried to break all the rules possible. So my style then was very simple. We'll go to thrift shops, so huge thrift markets, second-hand huge markets, and buy treasure for a few dollars. So that was my style right then.
Yes, like in the heydays where the actors never had money to
We had
to
zero
have,
money for anything. We only had money for coffees, espressos, then they will keep us up, and sweets sometimes because they give us enough energy to go on.
to go on.
Pretty much that's it.
In the 80s, in the late 80s, when Alba was already here in New York, she came back on stage and she worked in this very famous, in an actually off Broadway production of A Human Voice, the very famous, I'm sorry, yes, a very famous Jean Cocteau drama. So this is actually the poster that Francesco did for Alba for the performance. And this is Alba's on stage. Can you tell us a little bit about this, this drama, how the plot of this drama, and what is the collaboration? I know that there is a huge collaboration behind this production. So can you tell us a little bit about it?
So every stage actress knows what a difficult piece is A Human Voice. You are there alone with your lines and a telephone. So it's very difficult to follow the thoughts of where you are. And this piece is very dear to me for the collaboration I had with many artists for this piece. Well, Francesco to start for the poster. The wonderful poet René Ricard did the translation of the Cocteau French play. Helen Marden designed the sets for me. Arton Isley wrote the music for. John Hayes, the director, was himself an actor from the Ridiculous Theatre, and he had in mind Rossellini, Human Voice, with Dana Magnani. So he decided, because if you see the short film, it's a bedroom, as most of the time is. It's the distressed woman with the nightgown and the phone. And what else is there? Oh, yes, he decided from the film to use a dog on stage. Every theater person knows that children and dogs can be a disaster on stage. So it was okay for a few nights, but one night in my desperation, I took my slipper, got the dog, and the dog in the middle of this dramatic scene And the dog walked downstage, and everyone laughed for half an hour. So never children, never dogs on stage. We know that.
I didn't know that.
Well, not to mention, I wanted to use my little mat, Kiki, but the director thought he wasn't serious enough, the whole thing, so he got a trained dog,
Oh, thank God.
and the trained dog got much more money than I did.
And plus, he walked down the stage, and he,
I should have asked some money
Exactly.
back, I didn't.
yeah. Okay. In the since Alba came to New York, she became one of the best dressed women in the famous best dressed list in Vanity Fair, and she was also the favorite subject of many other magazines, including my magazine, Italian Vogue. I have a little gallery here. This is a picture of Bruce Weber for Vanity Fair. This is Annie Leibovitz, and Alba is here with...
Bruce Weber.
Oh, sorry, no, this is Bruce with the twins for Vanity Fair. This is Annie Leibovitz for American Vogue, and Alba is here with the two girls. David Snyder for the New York Times. And this is the Michelle Comte, September 1993 for Italian Vogue. And this is a huge story that we did on Alba wearing Dior, designed by Gianfranco Ferré. So would you briefly describe us how your love of fashion, and your love actually more than fashion, your love of clothes, and how your style developed over the years?
I loved clothes since I was a little kid. I spent a lot of time dressing up, no doubts. I always look for the right outfit, for the right occasion. That's again the costume part comes in. And I forgot what I was saying.
Doesn't matter.
Oh,
Descri-
yes, okay, here I am. So, so I'm a little emotional because I'm not on stage for a long time.
A big applause.
Let me see, posing for artists. I have some notes here on Amalfi paper. I thought they would bring me
Here.
good. Here we are. So I spend a lot of time getting dressed, and I even dress up to go to the dentist or to go to Mount Sinai emergency room.
Even when you gave birth to the kids?
For sure, I can remember it was some time ago, but for sure.
Well, chapeau.
So when I came to New York and this wonderful thing happened, were gratifying me to be part of the best list dressed.
Mm-hmm. Best dressed list.
I decided, okay, Alba, time to relax now. And I did. I'm much more relaxed about it.
And then you used to be.
It was a good gratification.
Okay. This is a very old photographs of Alba and Francesco in India. Alba and Francesco used to spend many, many months and sometimes years in a country that also informed very much Francesco's aesthetic and art. So I would like to ask you how how Indian fashion inform and inspire your style.
Saris. I always was very intrigued by uniforms. And saris are a uniform. The idea to not to think what to wear, but simply choose the color of the day your mood is in, or specific colors for specific celebration. Mm-hmm. To see an Indian woman closet is the best thing ever, because it's so neat. There are all those neatly folded sari, one on top of each other, and nothing else. Pretty nice.
Yeah. So from, let's see.
But what really stayed with me from India
Yeah.
is the sense of colors.
Oh, let's see.
I never neither knew there could be so many shades of each colors. When you walk into a fabric store in India and look on those shelves, and you see them all lining around you, it's a feast for the eye. Love
Yeah,
it.
look at that. Yeah. Yeah, well, we see. We're seeing.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, now let's change chapter. Let's talk about galas. So, from the Met big galas, like these two pictures, up to the New York City Ballet's gala, up to Save the Venice here. Alba's love for dressing up is well known and also well documented by the paparazzi. So how long does it take for you to conceive a look for a gala?
It used to be easier when I was size 40 and I could go to any showroom of many designers, choose my favorite outfit, wear it for the night, and then send it back next day. That was the easiest. Now it's not so easy, but I manage still to kind of dress up. So I mix new things with the things I have from my many clothes collection. And I like very much to mix low end and high, but not too high end. That's my favorite thing.
Can you look at this photograph and tell us a little bit more about it? Because I also like the fact that Francesco wore a mask with his self-portrait painted on it. Because this is a mask, it's not him. It's not himself, it's a mask with his self-portrait painted on.
So I was wearing a Valentino, a borrowed Valentino. The mask was from a New York artist. But the big hit of the night wasn't me, it was Francesco. And there was a competition at the end, it was Save Venice. And he won first prize for his watercolor
Look at
mask.
that. Congratulations. That's
I
great.
used these masks many times. Once was a benefit, a gala, a New York Academy of Art, and Francesco was honored that night. But he was in India. So I went, and when I had to do my little speech, I put his mask on. It was fun. People laughed a lot.
Okay. Alba is also very, very famous for her Halloween parties.
Yes.
And
Huge.
this is, and
Right?
this is Alba as Cleopatra. So, how do you organize your parties? Because also the parties are very elaborate in terms of setup. How do you organize your Halloween party, and where do you find the clothes that you're going to wear?
So Halloween is my favorite party, my favorite holidays, together with Christmas, but in a different way, obviously. So I think we are having a Halloween costume party from 40 years. I don't think I ever missed one. I always make a point to come back just for that. Usually I get carried away with decoration for Halloween. So I transform the house, the garden. It's a beautiful cemetery with candles and then flowers and tombs and everything. So I always have not much time to really think about a serious costume. But one year I was a mummy. Another year
An
I was...
Egyptian mummy.
Not this one. This one I was Cleopatra, but I was not at our house. This was a beautiful party in Brooklyn, a huge costume party. This was the only year I didn't do the party, I suppose.
See?
So I was a pregnant nun. I was a member of the gang, the Bloods gang, 1 year. I was a Rasta with long dreadlocks and a huge joint full of oreganos, though. Sadly so. Then I was a Mad Hatter, then I was what's the name of the guy from Star Trek with the... Yeah, Spock. From Star Trek, he worked with my hair. And last year I was a circus master. So I had a top hat, a special jacket, huge mustache and beard, and a whip. And I have to say, I kind of enjoy to have that whip. But the really good costume maker for Halloween is Francesco. He managed at the last minute, just 5 minutes before, 10 minutes before the party starts, to come up with the most weird, funny costume ever. Just to mention one, he was full attire geisha, from wig to makeup, shoes, the white socks with one finger, the fan, the kimono,
and the
makeup, full makeup. So luckily we have a store, Japanese store, 3 blocks from our house, and she was really happy to help him.
Oh, that's fantastic. As a geisha. Interesting.
We didn't bring the photographs.
No, we keep a secret. It's still in the house. It stays in the house. Okay, hair and makeup. A little chapter on hair and makeup. Because Alba, a part of the wonderful, way of dressing up is also, the hair and makeup. I mean, Alba loves to have a very elaborate hairdos. So I would like to ask you, apart from the makeup, but let's, concentrate on the hairdos. How do you how you have conceived your hairdos all over the years? Just look at that. I mean, it's not that.
Through the 90s, I had an incredible hairdresser, Marcus Paul, on 8th Street. He was a Dominican monk from Louisiana. New York, right? In his 20s, he went to Paris and worked with Jean-Louis David, who was the best hair person ever. And he learned how to use wires, hair extension every size, hair pieces every size, hundreds of bobby pin you call them? Yeah. And he will make sculpture out of my hair. It was amazing to see him working. Then he will put tons of hairspray on, horrible, and then he will call it hurricane proof.
Hurricane proof.
He will go with the hair dryer and make sure no one hair will move. And I did went through few hurricane and the hair didn't move. The most special I remember was was for a monologue at La Mama Theater. Mm-hmm. The title was A Brown Christmas, my friend at Jackie's, and he made my hair into a Christmas tree with all the balls, all the decoration. It was pretty fun.
And he was a Dominican monk.
Yes, and he was, even when he was a dresser, he will go to the monastery, I don't know which one, many times to St. John he will go. So he kept a relation with the monks. I don't know what happened to him now. Possibly he went back to the convent. I never knew what happened.
You lost track on him. Have you ever thought of hiring an image maker?
An image maker? I thought I was the image maker.
Sorry.
I never even knew there was such a profession out there.
Okay. Alba's birthday party. Alba's birthday parties are very, the invitation of her parties are, very high on demand in the city. And I selected a couple of them. This is the invitation of her 40th birthday party. And the invitation was designed by Francesco. And this is Alba and her family at the party. So what did you wear?
Well, luckily I had a wonderful friend, Marina Schiano.
No.
And she was...
A big hi to Marina, wherever she is.
Marina cara. We miss her a lot. So she helped me to borrow dresses. She knew every possible designer, obviously. And she helped me, and I chose a wedding gown by Vera Wang. I never had a proper wedding, not neither a wedding gown. In the 70s, we didn't believe in weddings, not neither in diamond rings. So I had the opportunity, every girl is dreaming about this wedding gown, so I put it on at 40. And
And you also change because we have another.
The second part of the evening was an Arnold Scassi outfit. And that's John Hayes, who was the director of A Human Voice. He will do a play where he will channeling Diana Vreeland. So nice. That's it's dressed as Diana Vreeland.
Oh, because you know what? Every birthday party that Alba puts together, they always have performances, and she entertains in a very theatrical way. So you don't go there just to have a toast to her and a slice of cake. No, you have different performances from, by different artists. I love this picture because the theme of Alba's birthday party was elaborate hairdo. So since Francesco doesn't have a lot of hair, he shaved his hair, showing Alba's name. And this is Alba's 50th birthday. And she used the Kenny Sharp portrait that we previously showed you. And the theme of the party was Bacchanalia. So let's comment this very satiric picture.
Well, obviously, costumes were Greek and Roman for this birthday. And I had a Ionic column dress designed by Nivelet, who is a French couturier in New York. And the cake, we don't have a picture of it, was a beautiful, huge broken column.
Oh,
and
nice.
it had 50 calla lilies made out of sugar coming out. And it was a special birthday.
Oh, nice. Your birthday parties always have a theme. Why?
I transform everything I do in a performance, in theater. So I think a theme defines the costumes. So, and I very much think about timing. Even a simple party I do, I always have all the timing scheduled out. And as Grazia say, I always have performances. So, no doubt that's the reason why the theme is there.
Okay. Almost 15 years ago, merging Alba's love for theater and her passion for clothes, she became developing a new career in her life as a costume designer. And she actually revealed a very strong and inner talent. So how this new chapter of your life start?
And that's again a very touching moment for a performer with the passing of time to step backstage and to be part of, to collaborate it, because on theater, my favorite part of it is collaboration. The idea is this group of people creating together, nothing goes higher, nothing goes lower, all the same level to create a show.
And
this is Made in Naples.
this is Made in Naples, is the first collaboration that Alba had with Carol Armitage, the very famous dancer and choreographer. And this is a ballet where you designed costume for, and the this ballet made in Naples debuted in Naples first, and then in New York at the Guggenheim Museum in 2009. So can you tell us something about this collaboration? I'm going to show you.
Carol Armitage, I knew her from the early 80s, and I always admired her dancing and her choreography. She was the first one who asked me to design costume. And with Made in Naples, the production was Napoli Teatro Festival, and we played to start at the San Ferdinando in Naples, Teatro San Ferdinando. So she really brought me back to my roots. As a South Italian, you are pretty familiar with the Pulcinella figure. But studying it as I did, I really went very deeply into an ancient roots of theater. And also, I saw very strongly this connection with the mask between life and death, because Pulcinella is very much about that.
This is another collaboration you got back in partnership with Carol Armitage in 2017 at the Ravello Music Festival with this performance called Muri Walls. In this performance, also Francesco got engaged, and Francesco Alba did the costumes, designed the costumes, while Francesco painted, while the performance was on, a huge watercolor on stage, and he also showed one of his very well-known tents. So can you tell us a little bit about this Muri Walls, and especially I would like you to comment this very particular costume that you made for the performance.
Yes. So the walls, Muri, came from a poem of a very wonderful Greek poet, Cavafy. Walls, it was made in 2017. There was a year where many walls were coming up, dividing people and dividing identities. Well, I think those walls are still up now, but they are not called walls anymore. They are called political correctness, but they are walls containing things without this feeling of everything open and fluid together. So this is one of, so I was on stage for this one. I had, the wall was a costume for me. Then it became a garden when I had to recite the poem.
Mm-hmm. And what is it? I mean, it's very, what I really like about this costume is that you painted a brick wall and you wrote a lot of artist name on that. Like the Chirico, you have Viva l'Arte, you have Michelangelo, you have Raffaello, you have Francesco Clemente. So why you did that? Yeah, why you? Giordano Bruno. So why
Francesco
did you put,
is there? Luigi Ontani very much
Luigi
there.
Ontani,
Because
yeah.
Viva l'Arte, I totally copied from Luigi and I use it myself a lot.
So why did you put the this artist name on this wall?
I love to paint on costumes. Somehow that's my approach. I use sometimes paint and many times markers, so I can have fabric markers. So I have more control over it.
Okay. Alba also teamed up with the performer and choreographer Richard Moved, for whom she designed the costumes of this performance Xxyy, which was, which debuted in New York in 2017. So can you tell us a little bit about, the idea behind these costumes and this performance? Xxyy.
This was a very special, interesting voyage for me into this piece, because for months and months, it took some time for the production to come, I studied chromosomes and all the possible combination of those chromosomes. We know XX, we know XY, but there is much more different combination than just that. Well, now is this thing, I don't know why you call it, this subject is all over the place. But then it was pretty special. It was an early stage of it. And I really had a whole trip into this. And so I designed pages of women accessory and then pages of men accessories. And then I kind of meld them together.
And here we go.
I love the skirt with fragile that was at the end of the piece.
Last but not least, you also made a very intense collaboration with this experimental theater director, film director, and playwright whose name is Xxyy. And since his way of putting together a show is slightly complicated, I'm gonna read a little quote describing his way of working. Xxyy is internationally known for his genre-defined works of daring physicality and the integration of new and used technologies in live performances. So you work a lot with him in three major productions: Word of Wise, Platonov, and Power Your Face. So can you tell us how first of all, how did you meet him and how your relationship with him evolved in the years?
So Jay was like a comet to me. I met him with a girlfriend of the time, and he asked me to collaborate with him. So we did very intensely, we worked those three productions, and then he disappeared. I don't know what happened to me. I know he's still teaching MIT because he was teaching that already then. He teach videos at MIT. But I lost him around, and I'm really sorry. I hope I see him one day.
So I also want you to really enjoy the way Alba is drawing the costumes. But Alba is also a wonderful artist herself, and she published since the pandemic, actually before the pandemic, and on a regular basis, she publishes books that she gives to friends about her life, about the life in the pandemic, during the pandemic, and recently she did a lovely a collection of books on her thoughts and her dreams and so forth. So really enjoy, apart from her, skill of being a costume designer, also the way she draws the costume themselves. So you had, as I told before, you had a long time relationship with Jay, but I would like you to talk specifically about Power Her Face, which actually I enjoy very much at the BAM, probably 7 years ago.
Some number of years ago.
So tell us about this play and actually this opera.
So we're Platonov and Word of Wires.
This is Platonov.
We had zero budget, close to zero, for costumes, as many times is in a theater. So you will end up running around thrift shops, in expensive stores all over the city. Then cut, sew, paint, to try to transform them into costumes. That for the other play. For this one, this was an opera. Thomas Hades did the music. He was with New York City Opera, and we performed at the Brooklyn Academy of Music. So with this production, I had Best Tailor, Best Fabrics, Best jewelry design, best wig designer, the best of everything. And I have to say, it was super enjoyable.
And tell us a little bit about the plot, because the plot is actually interesting.
Yeah,
The power of phrases,
But the
is not what you are
story,
expecting
I
from an
didn't know
opera.
anything about it, but it's a pretty, until I read it, I did the costume, but it's a pretty well-known story of this. Was the first divorce case out in the public of these aristocrats.
In England.
The Duchess, in England, obviously. The Duchess of Argyll was her name. And she was a very hot lady. So was all over the place.
Sexually very active, let's say that.
Well, she used to say then the reason that happened because she had fallen into an elevator shaft. So since then, something changed and she became... That's what...
She was a little bit discombobulated
what
and
he
she
said
started
in the
having
book.
sex with everybody.
So she would take Polaroid. That was the big thing in court to show this Polaroid, where you will not see much her face, but every possible position, and she always wore three
Necklace. Three pairs.
Well, necklace, but three, come si dice?
3 strings.
3 strings. So in the Polaroids, the pearls were hers for sure.
And so, did you have fun to design her clothes?
I did enormously. And as I say, they were so beautifully executed, so very happy about it. The problem is, it's very different to work with actresses or dancers than working with big star opera singers. They know what they want. They always have an excuse. It's too tight here. No, I can breathe. No, it's too tight here. So I deal with the divismo. Then it's something. Then the theater I come from, we totally had got rid of it.
Yeah. No, especially when you design for ballets and for opera, you really have to use certain fabrics. And,
In a different
also
way.
in a
Ballet
different way.
obviously is a huge work because a union, you have to wash those costumes every day. So you are dealing with movements, you are dealing with the washing, so my paint here and there will not work. So it's a very difficult for dancers too. But dancers are much more ready for everything. Opera singers less.
The aim of a costume designer is to introduce the character to the public even before the character will say a word. And so it's visually describing his or her personality. And my question is, which steps do you follow when you design costumes for a production?
First of all, I read very seriously the text. Then I find the points that I want. Then I kind of draw a very accurate chain between those thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
That's my way. And then again, it comes in the second problem is the budget situation. So that's what design many times, which way the costume go.
You know how Alba, you just, if you don't know her, you just realized tonight how strong the passion for clothes and the passion for theater is, into Alba's, heart. So now I really would like you to discover where Alba keeps her clothes, her costumes, and her clothes. And don't think of closets at all. And we have a little video for you, and I hope you will enjoy it.
It's only 2 minutes.
It's short, but it's worth of it. It's worth seeing it.
When my husband got a new studio in Brooklyn, I asked to have some space to store the too many things I accumulated in 40 years in New York. Instead of a dark room with many boxes, one on top of the other, I designed a miniature theater, a small space with an intricate meaning. On display center stage is an emblem representing my husband and myself as one. The Ace of Cups, my card from the minor tarot deck, containing the Ace of Wands, his card. The performer on this stage is strapped between two audiences, one in front and one in the back. A reminder of the Janus mask, so dear to the early commedia dell'arte. I come straight from that, from the Greeks to the Etruscan to the Romans, from the medieval jester to Machiavelli, Molière and Goldoni, to the time when actors became professionals and women were first seen on stage in 1564. The space I created is for me the site where the ritualistic slaughter of the actor takes place. The backdrop is divided in 3 closets. The middle one opens to reveal a mirror surrounded by lights, some red roses, a sparkling pair of shoes, and a mask. A synthesis of the beloved dressing room, where the actor gets ready for his duplicitous role. That's it, 2 minutes.
It is beautiful. So, what I would like to know, and I think that what they would like to know as well, is where is that? Okay. No. When you conceive this little theater, which kind of material did you decide to use?
Well, as you saw, is built in my husband's studio, so it's a wooden box. Wooden box with a super simple gold frame, the red curtains, velvet curtains. I choose the best gold ropes. That's my favorite part. The work was, I designed it, but the printing, because it's printed like a set, it was done by the wonderful theatrical company, Rose Brand. And I have a funny story. Can I tell the story about the theater?
Yeah.
So the idea was there. A dear friend artist, Jim Long, helped me to put it together technically. So we were looking for the right theater. I wanted theater, then it wasn't too big. Like I had La Scala was too big for me. I wanted an intimated, small theater, and there are not many photographs of theaters where you look at the audience. So finally, this friend of mine found the perfect size of theater I wanted. It's a theater that is now in Florida, is the Ringling?
Yeah, it's the Ringling Brothers, museum.
Museum in Florida.
It's a circus museum.
It was originally, this is the photo, it was a tiny theater near Venice, and it was built by the Principessa di Cipro, the Princess of Cyprus. And they were tearing down, and a German guy bought it, the whole thing, and then they remade it, the same building. They brought it to Florida, and this is the theater. But the funny part was, I worked on a small photograph to start. When the people enlarged it, I looked at the public of the theater, and they were, the audience, they were all Florida retired people They all had pink, bluish hair like mine now. The men were bald. They have pink shirts, pink tie. Everything was pink, light blue. So carefully, because obviously there was not the public I had in mind, my public. So I had to darken it up every possible white hair, pink shirt.
You made it more.
So now it's more
More
what I
somber,
wanted.
So let's briefly, okay. Alba keeps her beloved costumes by the likes of Romeo Gigli, Comme des Garçons, Moschino, Jean-Paul Gaultier, Alaya, you name them. And also her own costumes, like this one that we already seen, The Walls. I would like you, because we are running out of time, I would like...
You're almost done.
I would like you to make a little description of this dress and eventually the accessories.
This was a Moschino dress I used in the fall to go to Rome and get stuff to use for parties in New York. And I got this because it reminded me of the Guggenheim, and it was a place where we would go very often for openings, gala, and things. So this was, I used to call the Guggenheim dress.
It's because of the spiral.
The shape of it,
Yeah,
the
shape,
spiral. It's beautiful done, and it really keeps well. It's metal wires, and then it's all built around that. This is a very dear photo to me. First of all, I'm wearing the Maltese cross, and I am absolutely not supposed to do. Belongs to my father-in-law, but
As a woman, she cannot wear it. That's the
It's
fact.
not a Knight of Malta. But the other special part is the mask. The mask is, I have it from many, many years, is a mask designed by Man Ray, and it was executed by a Milano jewelry design, Giancarlo Montebello. I wore the mask a lot because it's super light and very easy to wear for hours. And then you can even, if you want, put it as a jewel just around your neck. And I love the mask.
Great. So I've heard that, it's not basta, no? Last couple of questions. Next spring, you gonna bring to Sao Paulo in Brazil a small version of your teatrino, of your small theater. Can you tell us a little bit about this project?
This is very exciting. It's an art center in São Paulo called Auroras. And
Which means dawn. And Alba's name is Dawn. Or
Wait. No, Aurora is not dawn.
No.
They are two different things. First comes Alba, it means white. In Latin, Alba means white. Is when the light comes. And Aurora, in Italian, Aurora.
Aurora.
Is that in English too?
it's dawn.
Well, in Italian, we are more specific. So usually, Aurora is when the sun comes up. So the title of the show in São Paulo will be Alba et Aurora. Then in English doesn't mean much, I imagine.
Yeah, it's a
So,
interesting
and I hope there I will build, it will be very close to the theater I have in Greenpoint, little smaller, but still with people will fit in, not many, small. And I want to build a prototype there, and then I hope the ship will sail.
Oh, that's great. So we hope to see, we hope to see the little theater also here in New York some days soon. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Alba. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Grazia.
If you have a couple of questions, she can answer.
So I should put my glasses for this.
Any questions?
No questions. Good.
Yes, yes, Chiara.
Chiara is the question.
If you could have done as an actress any theater performance following, the acting you did in Rome, what would it have been?
Well, when I left the theater because I fall in love with my husband, it was the time my career was going up. And I was the main actress in Il risveglio di primavera, Spring Awakening of Wedekind. So I dropped in the middle of it. We went to India, I had you. Then went back and tried to go back to the stage, but I couldn't. I was too young and didn't know how to organize myself. So I decided if I had a child, I would have to take care of it. And I did for many years. You, your sister, your two brothers. So maybe I will do that production just for my satisfaction because I have a tear. So I still have a tear. Well, another detail just to tell you, then now is many years I left the real acting as a job all the time. But still now, many, many years later, I very often dream, then I have to go on stage, and I don't remember my part, my costume is not ready. So I'm ready to go back anytime. And
Yeah.
I go back.
Yes, she will. She will soon.
I am on stage.
Yes.
Here I am.
Yes, at least tonight. Okay.
That's right.
Thank you, Alba.
Thank you, Grazia. I only wish the public would laugh more. That will be our next one.
No, they laugh.